I've got 5 or 6 or 7 words for you. Volvo XC60 T6 AWD, all-wheel drive, that's right, that's what's behind me, and this is our very first episode on TFL Now of 0 to 60 Leaderboard. And just like on TFL Car, we're going to be putting a leaderboard on our videos to let you know what cars are fastest from 0 to 60, and that is coming up, you know it, right now. So what makes this Volvo unique is that it's both turbocharged and supercharged. And combined, it puts out 302 horsepower and 295 pound-foot of torque, and that is all driven through an 8-speed automatic transmission to all 4 wheels. Now, how does it work? Well, the supercharger basically sits on top of the turbocharger, and the supercharger is driven by the engine. So the engine spools up the supercharger, which creates power, and then the exhaust spools up the turbocharger, which creates more power. So theoretically, we should have very little lag because we've got both a supercharger and a turbocharger. Super Turbo! Oh, you know what? Volvo has definitely earned the TFL Most Improved brand. It wasn't, what, 5 years ago, 6 years ago that Volvo was pretty much a walking dead company, and now they have reinvented themselves to such an extent that they're building some of the best premium luxury cars out there. And unfortunately, this necessarily isn't one of them. It's a little dated, but it does have the Super Turbo. So I want to see how fast it is from 0 to 60 and see how it does on our leaderboard. So I'm going to put it in sport mode, and I'm just going to floor it and see how this car does. And the first time around, I'm just going to floor it and not spool it up. This time, just straight up floor it. Here we go. And there we have it. Our first 0 to 60 leaderboard, 7.94. And as always, I'm going to do this again. And this time I'm going to see if I can spool up the engine, give the turbo and the supercharger a little bit of the beans. There we go. Not sure that helped much. And there's 60. As you can tell, did not help much. So 7.94 is our very first leaderboard 0 to 60 contestant, and over the next few weeks and months on TFL Now, we'll be not only doing all of our 0 to 60 testing, but we'll be actually doing a leaderboard at the end of the video so you can see what cars are fastest and what cars are not. Keep in mind we're at a mile above sea level, so if you're at sea level, subtract the second. It's a pretty reasonable comparison, and you'll know what your favorite car does. I've got 3 numbers for you, 7.94, and that's pretty fast for a family crossover. Now keep in mind, over here on TFL Now, we'll be doing a leaderboard 0 to 60 segment, which means you'll be able to compare this car to all the other cars that we'll be testing. So stay tuned for that in the weeks and months to come. As always, this is Roman reporting for the Fast Lane Car, and check out TFLcar.com for more news, views, and of course, 0 to 60 leaderboard reviews. Ciao, see you next time.
This is a 2016 Golf Sport Wagon TSI. Has the 1.8 liter 4-cylinder turbocharged engine, which I really like. This one puts out 170 horsepower. So what we're going to try to do is a 0 to 60 run, and by doing it, we'll be able to compare it directly with the sports wagon we drove just under a year ago, which had the turbo diesel engine.